Right, so Nathan now has the link. I've just sent it him, seeing as he was too lazy to look at it in the Skype chat. There he is.
Woo!
Hey.
You're on silent, Nathan.
Oh, I'm on mute. Hello, how you doing?
Hello, hello.
How'd that go?
Evening, Nathan.
Hi, Nathan.
Hello. Who's in here? Hello, Roxanne. Who else we got?
Nathan.
Hello, Martin. Hello, Ranty.
Yo, yo.
Was that good?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Let's give everybody an update of where you're up to, because everyone's asking.
Yeah.
Or where I'm up to. What do you mean? I've just
Channel-wise, what you just did on Jaren's show.
I just did housekeeping for an hour with Jaren.
I know. Oh,
Great.
yeah, but I was interested. I was watching your chat.
An hour of housekeeping. Fantastic.
Awesome Dawson needs doing.
What about the debate show? Is it coming back?
Yeah, it'll slowly come back. So I explained this on Jaren's. Over the course of, I don't know, a month, I had 19 copyright strikes. Well, YouTube legally have to let a certain amount of time elapse between the appeal of those strikes and them actually coming off. Well, they're slowly starting to come off. Well, I'll slowly regain control of my channels as that happens. But for the time being, you know, some of them have lapsed, some of them haven't.
Hmm. Bollocks. Still, our website's pretty cool.
I'll get there. Don't worry.
You will.
Just a matter of time. I've said it before. It's just par for the course. These things.
Back 3 steps and you go forward 10.
Unless you're Antonio, in which case you kind of go back 10 steps and go forward.
Then you hear that, Nathan?
I saw his channels were shut down. Somebody sent me a screen cap. Not that I was looking it up.
Yeah.
Because he's so popular, you know?
Was that tongue in cheek there? So Nathan, what happened Wednesday?
Wednesday. What happened on? I don't know. Remind me.
Patricia?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right. Oh, bollocks. I forgot to mention Uncurved on Jaren's show. Oh, she's going to kill me.
Oh, what? She's going to kill you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Patricia.
Damn.
So, yeah, Uncurved. So I've got a new show with Patricia, or Patricia's got a new show with me, I should say, on Wednesday. So, Uncurved.
You had an excellent opportunity then to drop it in.
Say again, Ranty?
I said you had an excellent opportunity to drop it in then as well.
I did, and she even said just before I went live with him, make sure you mention it. I went, oh yeah, I'll mention it, don't you worry. And then I didn't.
Write things down, Nathan. Have a pad with you and a pen.
I did. I had full notes on what I was going to talk about. I just didn't get through the full list. It's always the way. You run out of time.
I know.
So I had intended to go through also a bit more about science, a bit more about logical fallacies, and obviously mention the fact that I got to show Patricia, and those 3 things didn't get done. But we just ran out of time. It's always the way.
Mm.
Bob's just said that he'll mention it on Globusters tomorrow, so you might be like...
Yeah, thank you very much. And if you're watching now, make sure you tune into Patricia Steer's show on a Wednesday, 11 p.m. UK time, Uncurved with Nathan Oakley and Patricia Steer. Or as she would say, Patricia Steer and Nathan Oakley. But we all know the real order.
Just get that in, Nathan. In your will. Yeah.
Well, we've had Red Pill on. Red Pill's on. He's been showing his work off.
I gave him big props. He did like an angle of attack demonstration on his video about National Geographic. Did you see that?
I did.
Very cool. He credited me, and then he did a miles better job. It's like, you credited me like I've done this, and you've clearly, you know, obviously the principle's the same, but he's just done a miles better job of actually illustrating it.
Yeah, I think he has a better program than me. I've only got Paint. It doesn't really cut it when you're looking against something like Photoshop.
Whatever he's done, the principle's the same, you know, and he credited the debate and me specifically by name, which I was delighted with, obviously. You know, it's gave me about 100 subscribers, so I was over the moon with that, really pleased. If you've subscribed to me off the back of Red Pill, thank you very much. Same goes for Jaren. If you subscribed off the back of Jaren, thank you very much. But, you know, it's great news. That's what you want to do, isn't it? You want to build your channel. He was saying that you grew by about 300 or 400 subscribers. Is that right, Ranty?
Yeah, I'm at 2,100 subs now. And when I first, well, before I actually went on to Jaren's, what was that, 3 or 4 days ago, I was at 1777. So, yeah, that's 330 or so. That's pretty good.
Wicked.
How many did you have watching?
Oh, I think we got up to around about 850, 900.
More than me then.
Oh, far more than you.
Oh, well done. Well, no, to be honest, I said this on the show as well. That presentation you did, and Anthony and I discussed it as well, and he'll definitely back me up here, unless he's a complete sod, and then he won't. But that was the best presentation you've ever done.
Yeah, I agree. It was almost like it had been rehearsed in some way, but he claims it wasn't. But I'm not having that.
No, straight off. I think it's all the practice I've had showing all this kind of stuff off on the debates. And basically, I just put some things in a folder and we just talked about it. And I think that it was kind of weird, actually, because just before we started, Jaren said, "Oh, are you going to show all your best stuff off?" And that's like, "What do you mean?" He says, "Oh, all your really cool observations." And I'm like, no, not really. I was going to talk about compression in inferior mirages and stuff, and I'd had it all planned for that. So I quickly scrambled around, grabbed a couple of videos that showed just perfectly flat, but for the most part, I just carried on with the stuff that we've been working on and addressing it head on and telling Jaren's audience essentially, look, we can do pretty all day long, but it's, when you get dirty and you get this dirty observations and you're trying to explain it, this is where I think his audience is ready to hear that now.
Shout out to Dirty Air.
Dirty Air.
Dirty.
Sorry, Martin. Can you bring one of them up, Ranty?
What do you mean?
The one, you'll know which one I'm talking about, and so will Anthony straight away. The one that's got 2 limited angles in it.
Hang on. I'm going to have to find it now, aren't I?
While he's looking that up, Nathan, did you see Jose drilling it in chat? Zoom back in with a P900, boom. I'm like, what? He's like proper. He's like, he was proper pushing the zooming in on the horizon proves curve point, and I'm like, yeah. What about gas pressure, gravity, axial rotation?
Jose has definitely gone back to the ball then.
Well, I think so. I'm not. Last I heard him say on Vegan Goys was that he was, quote, leaning more towards. And then in Jaren's chat, he was like batting for the ball team. Bob was trolling him in the end. It got that bad.
Fair enough. Everyone's entitled to their belief, Jose. If you want to believe it's a ball, good for you. In R you trust.
Let's give him a short prayer, Nathan.
Radius Dominus, Gravitas Spiritus Sanctus. Go in peace, Jose. In R you trust.
Arwin.
Yeah, you missed Arwin off it.
Arwin.
Is he there?
There we go. I've got it up, Nath.
Oh,
well done.
There you go.
Yeah. Is it like shared for the audience?
It is. It is.
Yeah, it's a pretty one, that, Ranty.
Let me just give a refracted shout out to Ace McLeod.
Yeah. Nathan, you love this image, don't you?
Well, you can't have 2 Earth curves, right?
Yep. You can't have 2 Earth curves. That's very true, Nathan. And here, we definitely don't have 2 Earth curves because there shouldn't even be, from my observational height, there shouldn't be any curve anyway between me and this first boat. It's just not there. I wasn't, the boat wasn't that far enough away and I was already at 12 feet above sea level. So should have just been looking straight at that boat. And no, we see an inferior mirage and then we see another inferior mirage behind. And none of them, there should be no hidden on these. But look.
No hidden. You get 2 Earth curves, according to what globe heads. Any obstruction's curvature, right? All right. Well, how do you explain this then?
2 balls.
These are actually 2 boats. This is a massive boat behind, and it's only 8.5 miles away, this boat, but it's a massive boat. It's about 80 foot tall, and this is a small pleasure boat, like a speedy boat.
It's a cargo boat, isn't it, with all containers on it?
Yeah, the one in the background is. But it's hidden. All of it's invisible. You can't see it apart from the very tippy tops. And before they used to say, yeah, it was hidden behind Earth curve. Well, we have a boat in the foreground that has another inferior mirage, and it's much lower down.
I'd like Jose to tell us what's going on here, if this is the curve of the Earth. I mean, he must have seen these like 100 times. It's like, just zoom in on the horizon and it all comes back, really. No, sorry, zoom in on the horizon and there it is, curve, boom. Come on, Jose.
Yeah, it's a pretty image, that, Nathan.
I tell you what, Nathan, I think what's going on, I think that because your show's not been on and he's not had his daily heroin dose, because we're all missing the heroin fix. Because he's not had that interaction and he's been going into Gem Panda's Discord server instead, he's been getting his fix from there, but because he's been infiltrated by dickheads, and that's the only way to describe it, because that's the only thing that makes sense. But what he did say, Nathan, there's a little bit of constructive criticism. He said he held back on one particular observation because he didn't want to present it in your show, because basically he didn't want you to turn on him. He didn't quite say it that way, but that's what he was getting at. And I was like, that's not good that Jose thinks that. So consider yourself told, Nathan. You're a bit too harsh.
What? Turn on him for what?
They were his words. He didn't. He held back on showing it because he didn't want to become the target of like vitriol or abuse or what. I can't remember exactly the word he used, but he was aiming it at you, really. And I was like,
how is that possible, though? All Jose does is present observations, so I can't really argue with what he's got caught in a lens, right?
Well, that was what he said. I'll see if I can get the link. I'll see if I can get what he actually said.
Okay.
So
I mean, it means that he presumably realizes that, you know, if he's being fallacious or coming out with nonsense and just so stories or using R to claim that he's got Earth curve, which ultimately speaking he must do, then yeah, he's going to get an earful, right?
Yeah, of course. But I think it was just the way that he was worried about it. I'll get the words. Bear with me while I find it. It's not finished scripting it.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So Nathan, yeah, I'm glad that you two, Martin, as well, because you haven't actually been on the, you know, together for a long time talking on the live stream.
Martin and I haven't, no.
Well, relatively recently, I think. Not sure.
You've known each other for years.
Yeah. Since get-go.
That's all right. Good friends still stay good friends, even if you're not necessarily doing live hangouts with them.
I see him all day, all the time. Like, he's there, isn't he? Part of my life. He's there. He's Nathan Oakley. So
yeah, I suppose it's a weird thing for us to discuss, eh, Martin? Because we're still
it is, mate.
doing the live shows. People assume that we've drifted apart. That said, we did talk about you the other day because we were. I'm sure I can't remember whose show I was on because it definitely weren't mine. But we were talking about how you, the superstar that you are, and we were trying to entice you down the underground at Manchester, and you're like,
I can't go. I got my sons. I'm in blood tests and all that. I don't want to explain my stuff on air and all that, Nathan. But I got stuff out. Surname well and all that.
It's down to your superstardom that you were blaming. I seem to remember it.
I will go under a street or something, but I'd have to be in the spring. It'd have to be when things calm down here because everything's up in the air. But I definitely want to do things, Nathan. I got like my equipment and stuff, and I want to do wicked vlogs. So yeah, I definitely want to do something like that. And it was very impressive.
Why did you look at your genitals when you said you got equipment?
No, my phone, my camera and my tripods on the floor. I got my foot on.
Oh, I see. Well, the audience didn't know that. They just saw you looking at your genitals.
I got to prove it. There you are, camera. I'll take a photograph. What do you call these people? Just for future.
You're killing it at the moment, Martin. You've outgrown all of us.
I know, it's gone ridiculous, mate. I can't keep up. It's just I need a secretary. I got it's really handy. I got people to help me out and that, and you know, with the incoming traffic, but it is gone to a ridiculous level. Like I can't cook really. I do what I can. Step all night. I am addicted to making content. I gotta be honest. I got so much to bring out, and I'm just like, which next? And it's very exciting, and I am driven, so it's not like a great hardship for myself. I'm a workaholic anyway.
I want you to punt them over my way because a lot of the audience that's being driven your way aren't necessarily flat earthers. They're like,
no, they're not. A lot of them are not. But you know, they talk about planets and stuff in my comments and all of that. But they're really nice people. Yeah. Come from Max and that.
In it, Martin. That's why I want you to drive them to me.
Yeah, the beauty of it is I got it at my channel. You know, I just surreptitiously. You know, I've sent, I don't know, thousands to the greatest story never told. They come back and they're like, well, I'm sold. That's it. I've never seen proof like it. It's overwhelming. And yeah, I don't know. So I've through that approach, I've managed to wake up far more people to flat Earth than I ever would have just grinding out my showing books in my living room videos.
No, I don't dispute it. But like I say, based on your comments alone, there's plenty of people that they're not on topic for you to argue with them, but you can definitely send them my way.
Yeah, no, I do. I have done as well. I have done. I have people who want to debate, so I'm not really debating. That's nothing to do with the video, but I know a person who definitely can, and send them your way. But anyone who comes to yours is going to have to be equipped, aren't they? And a lot of these people are, quite new to these subjects. They have to be quite on the ball and have a talk with you, Nathan, because obviously
Fresh meat.
drawing them. So
Send your fresh meat our way. I'll feed them to Anthony.
There's nowhere in between to break them in slowly, safe middle ground.
Heads off. Send them to the Flat Earth debate. We'll rip their heads off.
Yeah. Basically. They're lovely people. They're halfway there, but halfway you've got to be, can't buy half the story. History's a lie, and then science and everything else is just bang on. Obviously not. In my mind, all a flipping lie. It's easy to see from my mind for all of us, really, isn't it? It's crazy.
Well, there's obviously quite a lot of predictive programming, and I know just as I joined the show, you were discussing myself and Dirth were sharing from Flat Earth Brothers, and obviously some of this information has been staggered in its release, so you're getting hold of it now, and you've got to kind of question how much of it is predictive programming, just on a delayed release.
Oh yeah. I do. I'll take a photograph you all.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you see how you two diversified, I mean, Nathan's taken on the debates, you've taken on the history, and I think you're both killing it. You're both leading the way in your own little niche.
Oh, we've tried all sorts in the past. You don't know the story. We had FETV, and then we had what about our 24-hour sun tracking? That was quite an epic event. The whole thing for us was 2 days awake, mind you, and a big effort for all involved. But it was a beautiful thing. We managed to kill the globe maybe 8 times in my mind. It was like, this is shattering. Why isn't everybody on Earth watching this? Every time we did it. But, we had people in Mumbai, the sun's going down. We had David Weiss in Connecticut, the sun's going up. It's like, well, hang on, it's like 3,000 miles off, terminate the lines. We just killed the globe. Anyone. But, we did at that time, there wasn't the audience. Not really. It was, fledgling subject, really.
It's an interesting one.
Sorry?
Tracking, as much as it did debunk the globe model because it didn't match up with what they predicted by where the sun was, because we were basing the sun tracking on the physicality of the sun. So it must be in a physical location based on what they say it is in their model. But the end result from a flat Earth perspective has been boiled down to one of the housekeeping questions. How far is the distance to the sun? The answer being there is no distance to the sun. That's it. We don't know what. I was about to swear then. We don't know what the hell it is. Who knows what the sun is?
I like somebody said in my comments the other day, they said, what if it was like, one of those fiber optic lamps? I was like, ooh, instantly. I thought, yeah. And you know how they just all dangle and the tips, and we're seeing the tip of a fiber optic lamp, and that's our star, and that's our star, our sun. And all of the others are further back, and they're fiber optics, and they're the stars. And the fiber optic thing turns, and it all made sense. I was like, ooh, I like that fiber optic lamp.
Just as plausible as the heliocentric explanation for it, really.
Obviously. Fiber optic. Crazy. No, I haven't got a clue myself.
What time's your video releasing tonight, Martin?
11 o'clock. 11 o'clock. I'm going to be going shortly, having a bit of pizza or something before I start, and making a cup of coffee, catch up with my kid, say hi, and then it's only an hour anyway. Like I said, I made a video and accidentally posted like a numpty, but I have been very tired lately. It's been all hard work. Not that I'm moaning.
Flat Earth never sleeps, mate.
No, I know that, mate. I've been doing it. We've been like this for literally years. Hanging on the edge of this is like the razor's edge of a subject, isn't it? It's just cutting edge, of subjects, all of it, breaking new ground. Everything that comes out is new and has never been done before, in reality. So that's genius, isn't it? Because that's what genius means. It means new concepts, new creativity, things that never done before. So all of it is beautiful. Everything that's been thought up and done and carried out. It's just amazing. Nathan's done all of us. Roxanne, Anthony, Adam, all of it. Amazing thing, man.
Yeah, I can't really think of that many flat Earth content creators from America, really. I mean, obviously you've got Globebusters, Jeranism, and maybe one or two coming up.
It's like people that do like the watching the demographic, like Horry and people like that. But let me think.
You're having a laugh, right?
Field.
Loads of them.
No,
You're having a laugh. You're having a laugh.
Deep inside the rabbit hole, Patricia.
Yeah,
Stinky.
exactly.
Taboo conspiracy.
Just left one, Jenny.
The list is endless, right? We are in the minority in Flat Earth with the
Red pill philosophy.
okay, I've just been red pilled. Then.
Yeah, you wrecked my head then. I thought, wow.
It's probably 10 to 1, Ranty. There's probably 10 times more American Flat Earthers than British.
I'm terrible with accents and stuff, so that's what I'm blaming. I thought they were all English.
Fair enough.
What's happened with Jake the asshole? Is he like proper off the scene now? Gone?
No, he posts. He just only posts up like pretty mainstream subjects like that. Blue light went off in New York, but he gets like really killer views. But it's for the in between red pill lot that he's approaching. So he does a good job of that. Little succinct videos, a few minutes long, and you get quite good views.
What's his current position with regards to flat Earth? Is he like denouncing it?
He was hanging around with Jeff Stewart last time I seen him, just going and making stuff up, and that's it. I don't know nothing of it.
He's still a flat earther, but basically, in terms of he's renounced flat earthism because of the azimuthal equidistant projection that many flat earthers hold dear to. So he basically, irony of all ironies, because he fell out with me over exactly that. So my criticism of the azimuthal equidistant projection was something that I was being critical of him. And then he suddenly cottoned on to the reality that, that's just another model, right? We don't live on a model. The ice wall's a presupposition. It's just a global projection. Doesn't mean we live on that particular layout. But yeah, he basically renounced it and said, look, all flat earthers are wrong because they hold true to this azimuthal projection, which doesn't work. And you're like, well, yeah, we all knew that.
We do.
Think we live on a model, right? Does anybody here think we live on a model?
Not a projection.
This is like day one stuff for Martin and I, wasn't it, Martin?
Yeah, it was. We knew that from the off, but it was just
Yeah, we're talking Flat Earth UK 11, 2015. Martin and I discussing the flaws with the azimuthal equidistant projection and
on the New Year's Eve event. Yeah,
exactly. That's Monday, right?
Yeah, because it was the Tiger Dam thing. It was a big thing. It was the biggest thing on the in our sort of circle at the time.
Yeah,
Tiger Dam was like he wanted to work on a map. I was talking to him about it, and it was based on an azimuth, and we were going to work it all out. And then the Tiger Dam going funny thing happened at the same time. I mean, people in flat Earth history are going to know all about that. That was it. It was all about that. It was amazing time.
All Tiger Dan did was build an azimuthal equidistant projection, so that he sort of anchored the idea that was the flat Earth. In other words, he forced a reification fallacy onto flat earthers by creating the azimuthal through a series of videos. And then when he got to the problems that the azimuthal projection has, and we knew anyway, he then renounced flat Earth on that basis and started saying that train tracks proved the Earth was a sphere. And you're like, what? Train tracks are probably the best flat Earth proof there is.
I thought that was the weakest of them all, whatever he did.
I couldn't agree more. At the time, my channel ad was using the rail network as a flat Earth proof in terms of the way it's surveyed and laid down. And you're like, that to me is a cracking flat Earth example. I wouldn't necessarily label it as flat Earth proof. The Earth's obviously and observably flat. The train tracks just conform to that. That much is obvious, right? Well, no. According to Tiger Dan, they prove the Earth's a sphere. You're like, what? Are you having a laugh? Just take something that's a really solid flat Earth proof and claim it's a sphere proof without any justification after debunking the straw man map that we get given, the azimuthal equidistant projection, that you claim to build. It's like, no, you didn't. You laugh. You're having a laugh, right? You didn't build that map.
You were supporting. You were friends with him for a bit. You were supporting him. You thought he was like onto something really sneaky and clever, but it wasn't. It was something else completely different.
Well, he called it the linchpin of flat Earth. He said that the fact that the flights didn't work on the azimuthal equidistant projection was the linchpin of flat Earth. You're like, no, the obvious nature of our reality, that would be what I'd go by, not by your cartoon map.
Oh, that was mad times, Nathan. Oh, that went down. Wow.
Nathan, are you seeing this on my screen? I'm showing it to the audience. This is Red Pill's raw, uncut P1000 footage. And we have a car, that's a car headlight there. That's a car headlight. and I've triangulated this bridge and from his position, and these cars are literally driving on a road that's 1 meter above sea level.
Wow.
And I'm going to show you now.
There's a whole lot of compression there, isn't there?
What I've basically done is we've got the car. There's the headlights. There's the height of the car. There's the 1 meter above sea level. There's the water. And this is the amount of hidden that we have where these cars end. This is where the hidden should be if you believe you live on a globe.
Oops.
That's quite a lot of hidden. And if we go to the bridge itself, so the bridge itself has a clearance height of 72 feet, but yet the hidden should be 133. And yet we saw the car as it passed over the roadside, over the bridge and back onto the road on the other side with the headlights booming right down here. And obviously we shouldn't even see the top of the bridge. And I'm just going to show you the video again because it's just so bloody good.
He's got a mill pond again, basically, hasn't he? He's got absolutely no near foreground obstruction from any waves. I mean, look at those birds. They're fairly far away, wouldn't you agree?
Yes, I would. But there's the bridge, 76 feet, 133 feet should be missing. And you actually see the car headlights here in front of these buildings. And I'll show you on Google Earth, actually, where it actually is. So, hang on, I have to go to the last one, which will be here. I can't believe that people will look at this and think this is being loomed up. But here's the bridge. There's the bridge. There's the line of sight.
If people believe that it's loomed when it's a picture of something, then they can believe that it's looming based on their presuppositions of that's fine. You know, people can believe whatever they like.
Ranty, why is the half a bridge there?
Well, hang on. What do you mean half a bridge? That's the entrance.
What is half a bridge?
That's where boats go through here.
Yeah, but what about the half a bridge to the right of it?
I suppose that's for loading and unloading, so it'll park there and people can get off.
Oh, is that what it is? A pontoon or a jetty?
Yeah, jetty, it looks like.
So,
Okay.
so we've seen the car.
Is it for a ferry?
It's the causeway.
Old Rickaby Causeway, is that what it said?
Rickenback's Causeway.
Well, the other one says Old Rickenback's Causeway. That must be the old bridge that they now use as a... I think the word's pontoon. Might be wrong. Don't shoot me.
Don't wreck my point now.
Sorry.
Here's the bridge. Here's the bridge. There's them going down. We've got the lines of sight lined up for this particular building here where we see the cars pass and go in front here. And the elevation above sea level is on this road here. It's like 2 meters, 1 meters. All along here. It's literally, it's nothing. And yeah, so we're seeing those cars drive along that from 17.15 miles away. I'll show you the distance just so that we know. So there's where we see the cars. Here's his observation point here. Look at this, 17.15 miles away. Absolutely brilliant. And people will look at that and they'll have to believe that it's being loomed up. I mean, how can they not? Just because it was a mill pond, you just see it across it. We know water lies flat. Look at that. Absolutely sensational. Red Pill, best video so far that you've ever done.
Just goes to show
that Red Pill. He's really coming up with the goods. I mean, obviously, the P1000 is an exceptionally good camera, but it does actually take the person to go out and actually do this stuff.
This is why it's interesting with Jose's position, because it's like, I mean, look at Jose's video. One of Jose's videos, I got kicked before by my ISP. It's to do with the bridge, the exact same bridge that Rantys, not the exact same bridge, but the same point. What I'll do is I'll dig it out and I'll get the screenshot that he's referring to. You'd be gobsmacked when you see it. It's like, what?
So this is one of these rare days that there seemed to be no movement on the water. It was absolutely like a mill pond. And we know that water always lies flat. It finds its own level. And this is perfect proof that it finds its own level. So unless gravity had a day off on this particular day, right, and which we're all still here, aren't we? We haven't all been ripped apart and thrown up into space. So we assume gravity was still having an effect on the water at this time. Well, it should have curved it. right? That's a simple fact. It should have curved it, but it didn't, because water lies flat. So when we think that we absolutely live in a very big pond, that makes absolute sense, because water lies flat. And on this particular day, when it was dead still, we're seeing just across it. We're literally just being able to see across the water. Sorry?
Across the pond, like this is what you said.
Across the pond, yeah. And where's the hump of water that's in the way that's stopping us seeing all this? Where's the missing 133 feet of curvature? It's not. So is it being loomed up? It doesn't look like it's being loomed up to me, because we see birds all along this stretch. Everywhere he's zooming across, you're seeing a different bird, another bird, a seagull, that's actually on the water. So you can absolutely see for sure that it's absolutely flat water. It can be nothing. It can't be being loomed up. It's impossible.
Look at the compression in them buildings on the bottom as well. You can see that there's compression there. You don't need to know what the terrain looks like to see that them buildings are too wide and not tall enough.
Just breathtaking, the fact that you can get such good. When I've done it, when I've seen it as well, it's been the same. It's had to be like a mill, and you actually just look across it. So what we also need to realize is that when there's waves out at sea, so when you go out into the deeper ocean, those waves are like 30, 40, 50, 60 feet high. So if you've got that kind of waves that are going off in the deeper waters, it's no wonder that we can never see for infinity. Because the waters that we see at the shoreline that are maybe a couple of inches or 10 inches or a foot, when you go further out to sea and you go into the deeper water, the waves get bigger. They don't always just stay as like a mill pond.
Just goes to show that waves do cause obstruction, Jose.
Indeed, and he needs to learn his topography. He needs to learn what his land is.
What, flat?
No, the topography of his land. He needs to know what the topography of his land is. So underneath the water, he needs to know if there's any kind of riptides going off or tidal bores. You know, he needs to know where the shelf is. So where the shallows meet the deeper water, because all that's going to have an effect when the tide's pushing in. It's going to be squeezed against that shelf.
But there's a far easier way, and I think that's the route that Jose's taken, right? You don't need to know any of that. You can just assume R.
Yeah, well, that's what he's done. He wants to go back to his comfort. He wants his comfort blanket is the ball, and he's even said that in his mind he feels like a big weight has been relieved from him, because his friends and his family all thought he was mental. Now he's gone back to the ball. It's like his life is back in order, and this is literally what he said. So for him, it's been a pressure thing.
Right. But that's good. That's good. But going back to the ball, lift the weight from your shoulders and go back to the ball. It's like it's a religious belief, and if that religious belief brings you comfort, then more power to you. Go in peace. In R you trust. I mean it sincerely. If that brings you peace, good. Trust your beliefs. Good for you.
It's like that cartoon. It's like that cartoon I like to play, where it shows the big queue of people at one table, and it says the comfortable lie, but at the other table, that's the uncomfortable truth. There's nobody. Obviously, Jose's jumped away from that table where there's nobody, and he's got into the queue with the comfortable lie. And like, I agree with Nathan. If he's comfortable with that, leave him to it. It's fine. I don't have a problem with it. To be honest, he's probably better off on their side. But we all know he'll be back in some point, because you can't be on the ball once you realise that it's not a ball.
Yeah, socially, it's far easier to go back to the ball, because socially, everybody's still brainwashed. So, yeah, I completely agree. It, however, would drive me completely insane, because I'd be lying to myself. I know it's flat. So can I convince myself that it's a ball just because people tell me or assert that obstruction is caused by earth curve while simultaneously ignoring every detail that Ranty just went through? No, I can't do that. If Jose can do that, well, that's good for you. It is just belief. Well, everyone's entitled to that.
Exactly. I mean, Red Pill put it perfectly when he actually did a video, and he said that somebody was selling out for views and clicks. So, and in some ways, that's exactly what these shills have done. These, Simon Dans and conspiracy cats, because they must know that they're deliberately misrepresenting flat earthers and their arguments and misrepresenting the evidences that are actually being shown to them to fit a narrative, and they're doing it for views and clicks. So they're doing it for the money.
Yeah, I actually think that it might be a tactical move by him to get more subs so that he can be all friendly with the ballers. I'm not saying it is, but I just think it might be.
I don't know. He went out of his way to say that that wasn't his purpose. I mean, I'm subscribed to Jose. I've watched his vlogs, and he referred to his bicycle as his caddy. He's saying, look, I'm not doing this for money. I'm not making any money out of it. This is just how I feel. And I've got to be honest. I was like, yeah, man, I totally relate. The amount of people that have told me about the days they've woken up and gone, am I nuts? Am I wrong about all this? And, that I can relate to. Not personally.
How many times have I rang you, Nathan, and said, fucking hell, it looks a bit bendy today?
Right. And I go, yeah, whatever.
I've rang you at least twice and said, shit, man.
No. I'm saying, yes, you do. And what I do on the other end of the phone is roll my eyes and go, yeah.
Yeah, he's a curved.
But listen, this is what you're actually documenting there is absolute proof of how they were able to convince the masses, because when we look out at the horizon, oftentimes it matches up to the globe model, because of this inferior mirage that you can't see forever, and where these angles, they all meet, and there's a limited distance to how far we can actually see. So obviously, back in the day, it was so easy for them to convince them that they lived on a globe. So like you say, you can go out, you can look, you can say, oh, it looks a bit curved today.
But that's wrong. You can't go out and look. What you can do is you can take a picture of something, and then you can represent the observation in side elevation and ignore perspective. So what they claim is an obstruction of Earth curve in the near foreground is simultaneously perspective exclusive. So there is no accounting for the fact that near foreground bulge would be significantly larger to your perception or camera than the thing that you're observing and can see in the distance. Well, the way that they exclude perspective, as we all know, is they use the whole numbers for everything that they're measuring. So say the bulge is, let's use the Isle of Man, 160 foot in your near foreground between you and the observation, and the light's bending around that, and it's all nice, easy numbers when they use the 170 foot. And it's like, well, hold on a second. What's the angular size of that bulge? It would be massive, considerably larger than the thing it's obscuring. Well, no, it's not. You still see the thing it's obscuring. They just claim it's looming, right? Well, there's a whole string of beliefs wrapped around that someone like Jose, or anybody else for that matter, that's got a belief they live on a sphere, they've got to wrap their heads around all of that when they look at some of these observations that you, Red Pill, Anthony, everybody, Taboo Conspiracy, you name it. They present stuff and just say, look, I can see this. There it is. Now, ultimately, a lot of flat earthers will then go to the globe maths. It's like, why are you begging the question for them? Just show it and go, look, I can see it. Then let them come out with the nonsense about what it should or shouldn't be based on a model.
Nathan,
you can never go back. I don't understand it anyway.
Nathan, there was a really good segment in Vegan Goys Hangout today. Somebody joined. I should know the guy's name. I've heard his voice. I just can't think what his name is, but he's quite a new guy. But he'd obviously kept in touch with Jose's journey within the flat Earth debate. And he said, Jose, if you think that the Earth's spherical, what's your position with regard to the observation that you did in the supermarket where you put the light on the floor and it obscured and it literally disappeared? And he said, well, yeah, that's a very good question. He says, I don't really know. And he said, because do you not think that it might be possible that these things that you're up the bridge and all that are literally being affected by a little bit of that and a little bit of waves? And he's like, yeah, but it's not enough. And he's like, right, okay, no worries. But he was grilling him on all the questions that I was going to ask. Well, what about gas pressure next to it? And he said, oh, yeah, I'm not having that, though. He's like, well, you need that, though. If you think that we live on a sphere, you need this. This is one of the things that you've got to believe. And he's like, yeah, he says, I'm all right with not believing all the housekeeping questions. He says, but I'm all right believing that it's a curve. And I'm like, what you on about? You can't have one of the 5 housekeeping 6 questions. You can't have one of them and then just ignore the rest. Because you only need one of them housekeeping questions to fail and the whole narrative tumbles. But for some reason...
You've got to pay attention to his language. He uses the word believe repeatedly. And therefore, no beef with Jose. Good for you, man. Believe what you like.
I'm wondering if he's trolling though, because I don't think that he's really. I can't think that he's genuinely thought there's curve there, but we'll find out in time. But I'm just gobsmacked that that's his current position.
Right,
Maybe.
Ranty, I got to dive, brother. I got to go and get some food in me before I do my thing and then catch up with my kid. Guys,
Okay, Martin.
Cool,
thanks
man.
for hang out. Been
See you, Martin.
awesome buzz.
Yeah, it's been fantastic showing us all your stuff. It's been brilliant. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's just a day. All right, thanks, brothers and sisters. I'll catch you on the scene soon anyway. I'm around, all right?
All right.
Take it easy, Martin. I'll see you soon, pal.
All right, thanks, Adam. I'll see you soon, brother. Catch up soon, guys.
See you soon.
Peace and love.
I really want to see what videos Jose thinks of his own work that is the curve. I'm looking for the bridge one that I heard him referencing. I genuinely can't find it. But if he's in chat, I think he might be in chat. If you are Jose, let us know what the name of your video is that you're interested in, that you think's got the curve in it and the timestamp. Because I'd really want to see it. And just because if this is what convinced you that we live on a sphere, I want to see that.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I mean, the amount of times that I go out and put a video out and it, you know, the Globers jump all over it because they go, haha, proof of curve, you know, because you can't get away from the fact
No, there's only one that does that, Ranty. It's Conspiracy Cats.
Well, you know, but when you actually analyze it and you go through everything, you can figure it out. Obviously, we're not going to find out every observation in the world. Every observation we're not going to have an answer for, but probably 50% or 60% of them, we've got a damn good idea what's going on. You know, there are unexplained things, you know, just as the Globers would turn around and say, what I've just shown about Red Pill's video, where we're seeing complete flat over 17.15 miles down to, well, we're still seeing the car headlights at less than 5 feet above the actual water. So come on, at 17.15 miles. Now, in their mind, that's an anomaly. That is a massive pain in the arse for them, right? And then they've got to go back to this non-standard refraction and then whack it up to magic superlumin. Yeah, so absolute nonsense. Does it mean that it's any different to what we're going to say when we see blockage? You know, because every observation, you know, we can dissect most of it, but there are going to be some that are unexplained. And if he doesn't go back to the area and know the topography of the land, and I'll say it again, it will only take the tide being pushed in, hitting a reef in the foreground that will artificially raise up the water in that, you know, as he's looking across it. That reef that's underneath the water will cause the water to bulge ever so slightly in that location. And if he's filming across that, he's going to see obstruction.
Said already, Ranty, you can ignore all of that and just presuppose R.
True.
That's much easier. Sorry.
I actually blame Nathan for not having a show because I think if that wouldn't have happened, he wouldn't be where he is.
I mean, you mentioned Conspiracy Cats. Well, Conspiracy Cats, I mean, it did take, what was it, 387 times of asking the same question, but eventually, he's not even here. Where's Arwin? Arwin came through with the goods, asked the question verbatim, and got the answer. And Conspiracy Cats, to his credit, backed us entirely. Wonderful, wonderful job, Arwin. Thank you very much for repeating the question verbatim, because you got the answer. And Conspiracy Cats, devoted globehead, has backed us that space is an impossibility because you don't have the necessary antecedent for the gas pressure. According to Conspiracy Cats, you need the container, just like we assert. Isn't that amazing? No wonder he didn't want to answer.
I find it unusual that he answered Arwin rather than answering you. Maybe he thought Arwin was an easier target, but the reality is Arwin battered him there, and I think he pretty much knows it.
Yeah, didn't matter to me where the question came from. He needed to answer it, and he did, in front of a live audience, and made it very clear. The necessary antecedent for gas pressure is something to press upon, something they don't have in the heliocentric system. They've got a vacuum, and entropy would take effect. Second law of thermodynamics, right? It would disperse instantaneously into the vacuum that we don't have. There is no vacuum of space. Outer space is fake. Thanks, Conspiracy Cats, by the way. Finally got you to answer. And what do you know? You back our story. You back our assertion about things. You back the flat earth. You can't have gas pressure without a container, right, Conspiracy Cats? Exactly as you so eloquently put. Space is fake.
Maybe it's a
Let's not
secret.
forget his line. Without the balloon, there is no pressure. He doesn't. I bet he wishes he'd never have said that now.
Well, he went into even greater detail when answering the exact question of how do we have gas pressure without a container. He made it perfectly clear. You need something to press upon to give you a PSI value. Well, there's nothing to press on up there on the globe. If you think you live on a model, i.e. the heliocentric globe system model, then what's your gas pressing on up in the sky? Oh, it's pressing on a vacuum, is it? No. That's the second law of thermodynamics violation. It would disperse, but yet we're all still breathing. Happy days. Space debunked.
Right, he says, Flat Earth, Jose says, Flat Earth raw unedited footage from Galveston, Texas at 3:42. Right, I have that. Let's go to 3:42. What I'll do is I'll send Ranty a screenshot of what he's referring to.
I need to know the location as well, so I need to know, exactly where he was filming to.
Well, let's have a look first. It's supposed to be curve, right? Let's see this curve.
Okay, actually, let's have a look for where he's going.
Oh, I can see what the problem is, Jose. What I think we should do here, Ranty, is just like bask in this, because this is like this is blatant. Well, for me, this is blatantly obvious. I can see what the problem is, but I'm just trying to get the best frame where it's clear, because he's got it out of. It's a bit like a Ranty horizon. It's a bit like out of focus and a bit choppy.
Well, you're not sharing, you know.
No, I know. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll share it. That's right. Let's do that. So, share application window. Right. Do you see this now, Ranty?
I do. I'm going to present you now.
So he's saying I need to hold the chat. So 3:42 and 8:25. So 3:42. We'll go from 3:36. So that's what he's on about.
Can you make it big screen?
If I make it big screen, I think it'll go off.
No, it won't. No, that's better. Right, go on.
So he's obviously referring to this, and to be fair, I can see what he's on about. Obviously, there's something that's in the foreground that appears to be obstructing the background.
Yeah, water.
Waves.
I'd say it's the wave. Look at the size of them waves.
Well, you can literally see as the waves move across the frame that they're obscuring it slightly more, then slightly less, then slightly more, then slightly less. So literally, you can see it's the waves.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's the waves that's bloody hell. See that bird then?
Also, it looks like the waves it looks like the water's moving in one constant direction.
There you go, Jose. Look at that. Look at this bird that's down here in the bottom corner. I thought it was the Loch Ness Monster at first. I let my mouse go out the way. Are you telling me that those waves are small enough to completely obscure a bird? Watch his head pop up. Only his head, you see. Looks like the Loch Ness Monster. You ready? Here he's coming. Here he comes. Come on, do it now. Come on. There he is. There he is. That black thing sticking up. Are you telling me that that's not obstructing that thing, Jose? Look at that goose or whatever it is.
Quite a choppy sea, actually, because if that goose is a couple of feet, its neck's a couple of feet high, and it's bobbing up and down there, that's a couple of feet.
We're only seeing his head. Do you know what I mean?
I now understand why Jose didn't want to present this to me, because yeah, it'd have got me breathing fire all over him. Obviously, this is the globe curve.
Right, I need to know where this was filmed.
Right. Okay.
And let's see the other one. 8:25. Let's do it here. Come on, Jose. You should be able to work this out, because we've done this kind of stuff how many times? Let's move this up out the way.
Hang on, what's that there?
This is the bridge, I think.
When you've got construction, you have to ask the person who's making the assertion that it's proof of Earth curve, how do you come to this conclusion that it is Earth curve? And like Tim Osmond found, you're just going to get raped with an R value. Obviously, the only way you can extract this non-curving footage into being Earth curve obstruction is to use your calculator. So you're telling me that you're going to go and assume R, Jose, based on an obstruction?
Right, two things, Jose. Look at the way this. I'm assuming this is a field or something. I'm not sure what I'm looking at here, but see how it lips back under itself, just like Soundly stuff does. That tells you that you're seeing a mirage of some kind, right? Or the angle of attack or whatever. Who cares? But the obstruction that you're looking at, and there's a path here as well I want you to look at. Look at that path. Are you telling me that path goes like that, Jose? Come on. what the obstruction there is the blocking that Ranty talks about, the atmospheric blocking that's caused by whatever it causes by the humidity or whatever.
Limited
that's
angle.
not real.
Like limited angle.
Yeah, it doesn't always seem to do it though. That's the problem.
No, it only doesn't do it when you've got an obstruction that covers what's being miraged down. So if this was a mill pond, you might have a considerably larger section below where the inferior mirage is, because obviously you've only got one tiny section of the closest bit to where the mirage layer is. So if you put a line through it, you're only getting, what, a couple of mils below where the mirage starts? Well, why is it only a couple of millimeters rather than the full extent of the diffraction limit in all its glory? Well, because you've got something in the near foreground, waves, right? Well, they're going to obstruct the limited angle of the thing behind it if they're higher than the midpoint of the camera. So the waves are going to obscure that demonstration of a limitation of the angle, but it's still there because there's still stuff above the deck to be in the limited angle that remains. So you're always going to have that mirage level to a layer to a certain extent, unless there is literally a wave in the near, even closer foreground obscuring that even more. So if that's got a wave between you and it, you're not going to see it.
But the other thing is, if you look at this white building here, whatever this building is, you can clearly see that there's a line that goes right the way through the whole of the image that's being inverted underneath, reflected underneath. Now, for whatever reason, who cares? But the point is the obstruction that's being...
Who cares? Why would you say that? Just piss it right in my face, Anthony.
Well, I don't want to piss it in your face.
Hold on. Same reason that Jose's light splits into two at the most limited angle. The reason his light gets twice as bright and twice the size and twice as long on the vertical is because it reaches and breaches the diffraction limit, same as these are on the entire horizon, because all of it's in the limited angle. It's not an atmospheric effect, it's a limitation of the angle.
What I mean by, I don't mean to piss it in your face. What I mean is, whatever the cause may be, we're seeing that reflection again. But Jose thinks that reflection thing, he thinks that that's the obstruction formerly known as curvature. But it's because he's this is honestly because the debate show has not been happening for a few weeks, and he's literally forgotten it. That's my honest view.
Technically my fault then.
Yeah, that's why I said blame Nathan. But it's clearly, obviously, not the curvature of the Earth.
Well, I've just asked him if he's actually filming over Galveston Bay.
Yeah, go on. What did he say?
Well, I'm waiting for his response first.
No, I don't, Riley. I don't know what he means by no, I don't, but yes, you do. Whatever it is, no, I don't means, yes, you do. You've seen this stuff. How many times have we been through this kind of stuff? And you're seeing it in your own footage. You can't call it curve of the Earth when there's clearly mirroring going on, Jose. Come on. I'm not being mean to Jose. I love Jose. He's one of my favorite guys. Doesn't mean I agree with him, and it doesn't mean that I'm not going to call him on his nonsense in the same way that I called Arwin on his nonsense.
Right, so Arwin, Jose's just said yes, that area, so I'm assuming he's filming across Galveston Bay. I just want to ask him a question, think about it logically. He seems like a clever fella, so I'm sure he can work it out. What happens in a bay when you've got the tides coming in and going out? What do you think happens in a bay area?
Yeah, you get incoming tide. Everything gets channeled into an area, doesn't it?
It does.
So what's the tide height variation in there? Because you only need a couple of feet and it's going to start making these waves look significant. I mean, don't forget, that's a couple of feet on top of the waves. So if the waves are a couple of feet and you've got the tide coming in at just 2 feet, that's 4 feet of obstruction very close to you compared to the stuff in the background.
And then that's basically lowering your angle to almost nothing when you're trying to film an elevation of approximately holding it 4 feet, 5 feet above sea level, and you're looking across that sort of obstruction. You've got all the water that's being churned up, the waves, all the splashes, between you and what you're actually looking at. You're probably actually filming across 1,000 individual little waves, some of them going up, some of them going down. But constantly they are creating a blockage. They're churning up the water, spitting all the water up everywhere. It's going to cause blockage, which causes the inferior mirage, the limited angle, everything that's going off. I honestly can't believe we're having to explain this to you, Jose. You should know this.
Ranty, just put me back on screen share, mate. It's dawned on me as well that there's something else that he's forgotten about, presumably. I'm just going to take the moment to... So shout outs to Defund NASA, who's just reminded me about this. I mean, this is so good I've forgotten about it many times over. but it is definitely worth reminding people, because the fact is, what Jose is seeing is one frame or one very short period of footage in his real world that is not like this bit here where there's no obstruction. But even with this bit here, you've got a little bit of that stretch and shrinking stuff, right? Jose is seeing a clip that's somewhere along here in his day. And I'm not saying it's the time of the day that matches or whatever. What I'm saying is whatever's going on in them conditions at that exact moment is like that, what you're looking at there, where you've got that mirror line going right across the image, and it distorts it to all hell and back. And that's what he thinks is now the curve. And I'm like, okay, no worries. Well, I mean, if you were to present that on Nathan's Jose, I can see why he didn't. But when you said it on Vegan Goy's channel, what you gave as your justification was you didn't want basically Nathan turning on you. But it's not that he's going to turn on you. He's going to remind you of what's actually happening in what you're seeing and interpreting. But initially, I interpreted what you said on Vegan Goy's channel with regards to revealing this on Nathan's. I took that to mean that Nathan was being a bit heavy-handed. But now when I've seen the bit that you're referring to, it's the other way around. You didn't present it on Nathan's because really inside you know exactly what would have been said. And Nathan's right. This is literally a comfort blanket being put around you, because you know that this isn't consistent with a sphere.
Anthony, can you see my screen?
Hang on. I can.
Right, here's where he's filming across. He's filming across. He said it in this area, so I don't know whether he's filming this across this direction. Sorry,
you might be able to find the bridge.
It'd be ideal if he was to tell us the actual bridge. But what I will say is that you have a very small opening here. This is the bay. This is where all the water channels in on the tides, right? It's surrounded and landlocked in everywhere else. So what you have is a bottleneck here. And when the tides are rushing up, so it's trying to fill this entire bay up, in this location here, you're going to get much faster water as it's pushing through into this tiny area. The stillness of the water in here, you're going to have the tides pushing in. You're going to get an increase in speed in this very narrow area here. And what happens when you've got fast water meeting slow water, you get an incredible amount of turbulence. And in his video, that's exactly what we see, is an incredible amount of turbulence. Now, I don't know whether he's filming from here. I don't know whether he's filming across this way. Only he can answer that. But what I will say is that the topography of this land is very vulnerable for this kind of effect to happen. You've got a very narrow opening here where the water's trying to squeeze in, and it will force that water to speed up.
And you'll have obvious from the imagery though. You can literally see the water and what it's doing. Yeah, I know. And I'm trying to explain to him that this is, if you don't know the area where you live, you're never going to, you've got to learn your topography, mate. You've got fast water pushing its way in here. What's going to happen? It's going to get all churned up. Think about it, Jose. Anyway.
And if the tide's on the way out as well, it'll cause it to bottleneck and build up whilst it's trying to drain.
Exactly. It's all things you got to learn. So I'm giving him a pass for now because essentially he's, he's only been doing this for what, 5 months. So
no, I don't think he deserves a pass, because the way he worded the reason why he didn't present it in Nathan's made it sound like Nathan was the ogre. But when I look at what he's referring to, I realize, I know why he didn't present it, and it's because it would have been pointed out to him that this is what you're actually seeing and why, and it would have stopped you from being, oh, here's my comfort blanket, here's my little toy that I've had since I was 6. That's all it is.
I don't mind. If you want to blame me, Jose, go ahead.
To be honest, I don't mind either. I think everybody's got the right to change their mind. Listen, I've had my mind changed a couple of times for a moment or two, and I've stood there and I've thought, what is it I'm looking at here? This looks really, really bendy. And then I ring Nathan and I say, this looks really bendy. And then when I go and get my zoom lens and I zoom right in on it, I realise there's that inferior mirage reflection thing. And I'm thinking, bloody hell, I can see how somebody would come here and think that was curvature. I've literally said them words to Nathan. I could see how, and then 1 or 2 days, well, maybe months later, Mars Delia Davis went there, spotted what I'd spotted, and claimed it as curvature. But when he zooms into the horizon, you can see that obstruction at the horizon, it's not water, it's mirror.
I want him to say that Red Pill Philosophy's video shows looming.
Yeah, bring it back up, Ranty. While he's in chat, bring it back up and ask him to explain it with the car lights. Because if it's curved, right, it's got to be curved everywhere, in all directions, evenly, roughly evenly, all right, you can have a bit of tide swell, bit of weather conditions. But here's what happens when you have flat water. And it's not the only one. It's not an exception to the rule. This happens frequently, but look how flat the water is, Jose. This is like Flat Earth 101.
Did gravity have a day off on this? Because on this day, we're seeing completely flat. We're seeing birds in the water. We're seeing them all, at different positions, all the way up to the water's edge up here. So, and we're seeing down to the street lights, well, the car lights as they drive at just a meter above actual water tide, that height. So come on, Jose, where's 133 feet of missing curvature? Because in your model, if you believe the globe, then gravity should be having an effect on this liquid, this fluid water. It should have an effect on it, and it should be pulling it into a curve around the rock that we live on. So this water should be curving. It can't fight gravity. Gravity will always win in your model. So where's the curve?
Even though it's a 50 millionth.
Where is the curve? It just looks to me like an incredibly still day. Totally different weather conditions to yours, where it was really choppy. Flat water, you see shore to shore over 17.15 miles. Ask yourself, how is that possible on the globe model?
I like how the trolls have suddenly, as soon as Jose sort of gave any inclination that he might be considering, what's the word when you go back to a religion that you might have left? Is there a word for that? Reinstation? I don't know. Gotta be a word. Anyway, when he showed
returning to the flock, Nathan's probably about
returning to the flock. I like that.
Here we go.
As they returned to the flock, the globe trolls started to criticize us for us basically, if you want to call it that, stabbing him in the front. That is to say that you're not, if you're a mate, going to say to somebody that you like, oh, that's okay, you're all right, buddy. We'll say, you've got a belief, Jose. If you want that belief, that's fine, you're entitled to it. But if you're to assert that you see curvature when none is there and obstruction from waves that are pushing in is actually Earth curve, then we're going to point that out, right? But that's because we like you, not because we dislike you. If we didn't care, we'd just say, go away. We don't want you around anymore, which isn't the case.
So, if Jose wants to come in and tell me that this is being loomed up and explain to me how it's being loomed up when we can see that there's a whole host, in fact, there's a whole host of birds on this lake or water area all the way up. We're seeing everything in proportion, exactly how we expect to see it.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Ranty. I was watching those videos, and it's not for me to look at that and saw what I saw. But it's not for me to look at it and explain why that's a ball. So I'm going to go and check out Jose's channel, and hopefully there's some explanation as to validate why he thinks those observations prove a ball. Because I said I was a bit new to this. I knew something was kicking off, but I didn't know exactly. So for me, that's what you need, is to have it explained why he thinks that is curvature.
You've got to make exactly what I said, Adam. You've got to make the assertion. So, okay, Jose's presented something, and then the end result is that he says Earth curve, right? So, I think Anthony asked him, where's your proof of Earth curve? What's the footage? You've then gone to a section in a video and pulled up something being obscured from the bottom up. So now we need, where's your connection between that and Earth curve?
Oh, hang on. He says it here. It says one word: scale. Longer observations, more obstruction. Jose, that was a distance of 17.15 miles, mate. That wasn't a small observation. That was a rather long observation of complete flat.
Sorry, but again, how do you get from, you're saying obstruction, I understand. Where do you go from the obstruction to Earth curve? Because obstruction and curvature are two different things. So if you're going to say that the obstruction is caused by Earth curve, how do you get from the obstruction to the Earth curve? That's the bit that Adam's trying to explain that we need, because I know that you'll need R. And when you use it, Jose, I will be the one to rape you with it. So you tell me where you get from that obstruction to your bloody Earth curve.
Right, somebody's just put underwater cars. Well, no, there isn't underwater cars. This headlight on this car...
That'd be cool.
It would be cool.
Wouldn't that be cool? Like Papa Bond, you know? Is it Octopus?
Lotus, man. Look at the logo.
Yeah, that would be cool. Great shout in chat, whoever said underwater cars. I want one.
We actually see all these cars that are coming down the bridge now, all these 5 cars, as he's panning to the left, you will see these headlights carry on along this horizon line here. You will see it as he pans through it. You can go and watch the video yourself, play it on slow, download it and check it frame by frame. You will see the car headlights on the horizon all the way through here. They're not underwater cars. They are just very, very low down cars because they're only the headlights are only 5 feet above the waterline, and you can see the headlights here. Look there. Look, see. Go watch it, download it yourself. Underwater cars.
Jose's just put. I choose to believe is Earth curve easier to explain. Yeah, it's that comforting. It's the comforting lie over the uncomfortable truth, isn't it?
Oh, and sorry, just one last thing, guys. You haven't seen this, have you, Nathan? That for underwater car guy that said underwater cars, right? Let me just tell you that there's the water, there's the car 1 meter above the actual water, because that's where the bridge that he's driving across ends, and the road that he's driving on now is 1 meter above the water, and this is the car headlights here. Yet in the globe model, right? In the globe model, we have to go to the top of these cars. All these cars that are stacked up on top of each other. This is where the curve should be. This is how much hidden an obstruction should be. Yeah, and I'm still going. So underwater car man, you better think twice about what you're actually saying, because this is your model. Right? In fact, on your model, we shouldn't even see the bridge because I've stacked the cars up just like so to show you here. Yet we see the car on the road right down here. We see the car headlights here. And yet your model says that this is where the curve is. Think about it.
Is that a new Honda Accord?
I have no idea.
Not a bad looking car, is it?
No, it's all right.
I think the compromise that Jose needs to be aware of and actively try to do is go and get a photograph of said bridge when it's at low tide, go and get a photograph when it's at high tide, and go and get one when it's somewhere in the middle. Like, try and get it towards the middle. What you'll find is that at low tide and at high tide, that's when you'll see the most. And when the tide's somewhere in the middle, going in or coming out, that's when you're going to get your tidal bulges, bendy water, but caused by tide, not caused by curve. So get it when it's settled at high tide or low tide, and you'd be gobsmacked at how much you don't have the same image.
That is confusing. I need to just check something. Does the new Honda Accord go underwater?
I don't think it does.
Right.
James Bond's Lotus did, so maybe technology's improved.
Right.
Rainy Beaver, why are you worried about a foot or two when you've got 133 feet of missing? Think about it.
Yeah.
Glover's still going back to, oh, you've got maybe a foot of hidden over 17 miles. Well, okay. Well, which model is more likely?
The thing is, I'm totally pro-choice, and I've encouraged him and supported him when others have not. But it was on the understanding that he's basically genuinely and honestly come across what he interpreted to be curve. Well, it's clearly genuinely and honestly not curve, and that kind of changes my view a bit. I'm not going to become a hater, but I'm also not going to be polite and supportive, because I realise that this is not an honest, intellectually honest position. It's like, come on, Jose.
I think that's. I say I've not heard the thing, but
I'm going to
that's your interpretation of the data. I want to hear his interpretation.
Yeah, I'll find it. I'm still looking for it. So the minute I find it, I'll send the soundbite over to Ranty.
Adam and I are obviously of like mind at the moment, because you took the words out of my mouth. So what I want, Anthony, is quite different. I want him to actually tell us how he gets from the obstruction to the Earth curve, because we all know where that's going to go, and you're declaring it in advance, right, Anthony? You know it's not Earth curve.
Yeah.
And you know where he's going to have to get that Earth curve from, right? Ah. So yeah, let's see it. Let's see him actually verbalize it, because that'll be a trip. That'll be difficult to do. If I was Jose, I wouldn't want to do that, but I want him to actually take us through that image that we saw on screen and its connection to Earth curve. Let's see how that pans out.
Roxanne, you're being very quiet.
I mean, just think of the housekeeping question.
Oh, housekeeping.
Sorry, I'm all ears. Do you know what? I can't shut up, right? I have a really big problem with like my off button, and like so what I've done is I've taken some advice and I'm nodding profusely, and I'm trying not to kind of do what I normally do, which is like a lot of ums and ahs and like chiming in all the time because it's very disruptive to the conversation. So I've just been in absorb mode. I'm fully with you guys on this one. And I really kind of admire where you guys are coming from. And I know that you get a lot of stick in the community for can I say, like, objectively going at these arguments that a lot of people are brushing under the carpet. A lot of people are making observations, like Anthony said, and claiming it to be curvature. And I admire how you guys stand up to it and kind of see things through to the end and don't kind of leave things half answered. So I just admire that. Yeah, that's where I'm coming from.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're like vultures, man. We're all around Jose, waiting for him to use R. We're all looking at him with evil eyes, going, "Come on, use it, come on."
My daughter uses a lot of London slang to describe you, Nathan. Like you're quite big amongst the secondary school community. Like a lot of the kids. I will get her to list down. It's all complimentary. It's nothing but good words. They love how you throw down against globe heads and how you, not for the London kids say you don't have a bar of it. Apparently that means you take no crap.
Yeah, I don't have a bar of it.
You don't have a bar of it, mate. So yeah, you're a bit. Who was it that said they won? You're almost like world star hip hop. World star hip hop worthy, like viral worthy. Like you're viral amongst the secondary school kids. Anyway, that's for one. So I'll drink to that. Props to you, Nathan.
That Earth equivalent of Snoop Dogg.
You are cool amongst the secondary school kids. Me, like you're like the flat earther or the globe denier version of a rap battler. Do you know, like when people go into like rap battles and ciphers and then the best person wins? You're part of that. So yeah, the kids love you. They absolutely love you.
No calling me White Rabbit.
Big time. So yeah, I've just been in absorb mode. I've been using the 4:1 ratio. I've got 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth. So I've been using the eyes and the ears this evening, and I've been in absorb mode.
It's been a long show, I have to say. I expected to do 4 hours, and I'm almost there. 20 minutes to go. So if there's anything that somebody else wants to talk about, Adam, Roxanne, Anthony, anybody?
I think you guys have just about covered it.
We have.
Yeah, it's been a good one, mate. I've enjoyed it. Timed perfectly for me to put the kids to bed. So
the one thing I will say before I go is that this time next week, a week tomorrow, I'll be going to Speaker's Corner in Hyde Park, London. So if anyone's within reach, the Speaker's Corner wants to come out next Sunday. We'll be there from midday onwards.
Be prepared for dumb bastards that believe in gravity but can't prove it. Especially.
Yeah, and when you show them flat water, 17 miles of flat water, ask them to explain it.
Yeah.
Maybe can I just ask a question about Speaker's Corner? Sorry, Ranty, I know that was your opportunity to round out, and I've just opened up a whole can of worms. Sorry.
Okay, go on.
Well, at Speaker's Corner, do people actually have any awareness of things like the Cavendish experiment or Einsteinian gravity?
They do, to the extent they spew out the same programmed response that we all did when we were asleep. They spew out the same stuff we were all taught. They spew out the fact that it's an experiment. They spew out the fact that he was trying to prove gravity. And they spew out all of these kind of falsities that even just from the get-go in the conversation, when you're trying to reiterate to people, look, there's what's stipulated, but here's what happened in actual fact. Most people are kind of flummoxed at that alone, that they're not taught the accurate narrative. They've just taken it as a given. That's what most people are like. I was like that. I took it as a given.
I'm surprised people know about it at all. I mean, I only found out about the Cavendish experiment when I first came to Flat Earth, so I had no familiarity with it whatsoever. But presumably the people who come to Speaker's Corner are a bit more educated and want the challenge.
I think a little. It's like I feel like Speaker's Speaker's Corner is a little bit of the road life version of your debate show online. People come prepared to a certain extent. Does that make sense? It's like they're not there by accident. They're not just going to Marks and Spencer's to get their shepherd's pie. They've come to Speaker's Corner to have some kind of debate or argumentative conversation about something. So most of them do come prepared, but what they come with is preparation of the same indoctrination we've all had. So
Right.
they haven't prepared. They actually come unprepared, which is what happens on your debate show most times. People think they come prepared and they don't. They come making claims and not understanding the burden of proofs on them. What they don't understand is that we're not making any claims. What we're doing is disproving the claim that's been made. And I think they need to kind of get out of the mindset of thinking that we've got something to prove. We haven't got anything to prove. The burden of proof's not on us. It's on them. They're the ones claiming it.
Which is why I never say it's flat, because I know I can't prove it.
Then if you do that, you're now at the risk of the community throwing shots at you for denying the fact that it's flat earth, and that's not what you're doing.
Yeah, Nathan, are you listening?
I'm with you on that one. I don't like saying I'm a flat earther, which is why I say I'm a globalist denier. Not only do I deny the globe, I deny everything that New World Order and One World Government stands for. So I deny the whole thing. The whole thing. The globe and everything that it stands for.
Unless you can prove it's true, it's not true.
Yeah. That's why I say to people at Speaker's Corner, the burden of proof's not on me. It's not my problem to prove. I can vouch for observations, multiple observations that have been repeated that disprove what we've been taught. So show me different.
Right. Well, on that note, I think we'll round out. Thanks everybody for coming. Honestly, it's been a marathon show today. Nathan, thanks very much. We competed against Jaren. We held our own. Roxanne, thanks for coming. Anthony, again. Adam, sorry.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. You're always welcome.
Ranty, cheers for a good night, mate. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much for having me. Been a real pleasure.
And also a shout out to Red Pill and to Martin Leakey for also appearing. And hopefully we'll have the Flat Earth debates back soon. So I won't be having to host it myself.
Yeah, watch this space. Subscribe to Nathan Oakley 1980 if you've not done so already.
Just before you go, someone's just said, have you checked out Nicole Quarte's video on the education in the 1800s? Shout her out. So shout out to Nicole Quarte.
Okay, cool. Shout out. A few more shout outs in chat, anybody? Ifun Nasser, Jose Ruderther, and Ryan Vincent.
I'd also like to shout out my second channel, Nathan Oakley.
Shout out retracted.
Selfless self-promote.
It's been a great one. Thank you very much.
Okay, right. Thanks very much, guys.
Cool.
Bye-bye.
Adios.